Okay, so welcome everyone to our combined class session that is going to go over some of the items you will need to do inside of NetAcad as an instructor. A couple things. First off, if you have not finished up the final exam in your course that you're taking, please finish the final written exam in NetAcad. Likewise, finish the correct hands-on exam in NetLabs for your class. Each class has a different item that has to be done. For Introduction to Networks, you had that sent to you. For Routing and Switching Essentials, you had it sent to you. For CCNA Security, your final exam was the Chapter 11 Comprehensive Exam, which was a very long hands-on lab, not exam, but hands-on lab that you had to do. So please get those finished up, and as soon as you do, when you've got those three items done, the course feedback, the written final, and the hands-on final, I will then accredit you. Some of you have received an email from me saying that I can't accredit you because you do not have the instructor role at your academy. You need to contact your main contact at the academy you're going to be teaching at and ask them to add your account in to their academy and have them use your current email address. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So your academy manager or main contact will need to go into their academy. Now I've got so many academies under me because I just have multiple academies. But I'm gonna go to Stanley Community College Academy, and where I have manage users, I can go to users, and then I can add a user. So when you're in, since I'm the main contact of this academy, I can do a NetAcad instructor. But your academy contact will need to put your first and last name and the email address that was associated with the account you've been using for my courses. Your accreditation and your coursework is associated with that email address. Now, you can change it later, but they need to add it using what you've used to this point. Once I get you accredited, you can then change it, and they won't have to add you again later because you'll have that. But they'll have to give you that NetAcad instructor role. Otherwise, I can't accredit you. So even if you've done everything for me that you need to do, I can't check the accreditation box until you have that role at your academy. All right? Any questions on that? If you don't know what IP or what email address is associated with your account, you can just click on your profile right here, and it will give you the email address that is associated with your account. It will show you clearly. And that's also where you will go to change your email address associated with your account. In addition, any of you who are taking Routing and Switching Essentials, now that I have accredited you or I have marked you as complete, as long as you scored a 75 or higher on the final exam, first attempt, you will have under discount vouchers very shortly a chance to actually request a discount voucher for the ICND1. So it'll be a 61% discount, which makes it around $60 or of that case. But you'll be able to actually request discount vouchers. I don't have any available for me right now because I have no particular courses that I am doing that have a voucher. But you will have that available for you in the very near future. If you don't, let me know and I'll check and see what's going on with it. What I want to do today is walk you through a couple things that will be common items you do all the time at your academy. The first is going to be creating a course. Now, the good news is I've got to create my courses for our ITC classes that start on the 13th of September. So I'm going to go in to create a course. And one of the things, if you do have multiple academies listed underneath you, make sure you click the right academy. For me, I have to be very careful because these courses have to be under the ITC, because they're instructor training courses. I click ITC, and then I can just pick the course. Now, you will see a large number of courses here. This doesn't mean, you may not see this many. I'm certified to teach everything in the academy, so you probably will not see this many. You may also see some courses that are not even currently out, like there's a Python course that shows up for some, even though that course has not come out yet. You also see some courses that don't require instructor training. For instance, Linux Essentials and some of the partner Linux courses do not require instructor training, so you can start those courses and teach them if you choose to. Right now, however, we're going to focus on Routing and Switching Essentials. So I'm going to click here. Once you click it and click continue, it's going to ask you for a language and version. We need to be teaching the English 6 version at this point, or whatever, French if you choose to use it. But do not teach 5.03. That's the old version. Only teach using English version 6 or at least version 6. Now here's where people get a little bit confused. You are required to put in a course ID, but that course ID doesn't necessarily have to be the ID that your school gives it. For instance, our school gives a number that's a CAS number. I just put in the same thing that I use for my normal courses. So I'm going to do ITC dash, it's ITC RSE dash fall 17. And I use it, well, if I can spell fall correctly, I use the exact same thing for the course ID as I do for the course name, okay? And so you can do whatever you want. You can actually put in the course ID if you so choose to do so. I don't. I just don't put those in there. You have to pick a start date. Now be aware that the students cannot access the course until the start date. So for these courses, they will start September 13th. And then the end date on my courses is supposed to be December, I believe it's December 13th, December 9th. What I actually usually do is I usually push it about a month past that date, just because if you make it in on the exact end date of your course, students will no longer be able to access the course on that day. So if you have a student who needs, maybe 1 or 2 days to finish up a couple of assignments, you don't normally have to go as far out as I do. These are instructor courses, so I go a little bit further than some other people. But you may want to make your end date, not the exact end date of the course, but 4 or 5 days after the course ends. That's just something I've learned through experience, that you always have that one student that needs to turn in something somewhat late. You also have the option of adding another instructor if you have multiple instructors at your academy. I'm not going to add one to this, but it is good to have if you are in a situation where you may need another instructor to help, or if you happen to be, for some reason, like for what happened to me, I got hurt and was out. That secondary instructor could take over. Or if you want a team teacher course, you can do that. In this case, I'm going to click continue. And then now we've got 2 options. And this is an interesting thing, because even though you create a course in Canvas, it's not technically available for students until you publish it. You could save it, but here's the thing. Until you put students in the course, they can't see it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and just publish it now. That way you don't have to worry about publishing it later and forgetting to publish it. At this point, you're brought to a page. Mine's a little different than yours, but yours will still have this add students. Creating the course doesn't mean there are any students in the course. It simply means that the course has been created. I sent out a detailed video earlier this week about how to copy in a course shell. So at this point, I would actually stop and go to my course. So I'm going to go to the courses that are not in progress yet. So here's your drop down. You can actually list your courses as drafts, not started, in progress, recently ended, or favorites. And these are the ones I'm currently teaching. I'm just going to do not started. You'll see my 2 courses for the fall. Okay. So at this point, I would actually go into Routing and Switching Essentials and go through the process of copying in the course shell. I haven't sent out the course shell for Routing and Switching Essentials yet. I'll get that out here shortly. But I would copy in the course shell. That will give you all the modules and setups with assignments like I've shown you and what you've had in our class, where you can click on the assignment, do the assignment, and then upload the assignment. Once you're done copying that in, you have to come back to this page. Now, be aware, if you're in the list mode, you really can't get to the page that you need to, because you need the course details. So make sure you're in the tile mode. Okay, that confused me for a while. But in tile mode, you can go to course details. Under course details, you have the add students button. Now, there's multiple ways to add students. One, if you're sitting in the classroom first day of class, you can literally sit down and add a new user by putting in an email for them, first name, last name, student ID, and then save and add. So you can do them one at a time. That's kind of a pain, but you can do it. You can import a CSV file. So you can actually download a template. I'm going to bring this over and show you this template. It's a very, very simple template. But you can actually take and use the template, put in your student's first and last name, their email address, and then their institution. Now, one thing I will tell you about creating accounts for a course. Be aware, you only need to create accounts the first time a student's taking a NetAcad course at your academy. Once they have an account, you will add the student, and I'll show you how to do that later. So most time for the intro course or the IT Essentials, depending on which one you do first, that's when you will create their first NetAcad account, and then that account will stay with them the entire time they take courses. That's why usually this address, I'll use the school address instead of their own personal address. And they can change that under their profile too if they so choose. Be aware too that they will need to go to that email address and activate the account before they will have access to the course. So just creating them an account using this method doesn't activate the account. The student still has to go there, open up the email that's sent by the system, activate the account, and then they'll be able to actually log into NetAcad. So here's another way you can do it with a CSV file. A third way is to import from course. So if you have a previous course, so this is the Introduction to Networks course. So in the intro course, the students probably didn't have another course unless they've had IT Essentials. But if this was the Routing and Switching Essentials course, I could actually click Import from Course. I could go down to my Stanley Community College CA, and then I could pick another course that exists and actually import the students into the course who are already in there. So for instance, I'll give you a great example. Those of you who are taking my scaling course on September 13th, here shortly, I will actually just import from RSE Fall 17, okay, or Summer 17 actually. It'll be RSE Sum 17. I can import the students that are in that into the course by just clicking on them, which is very handy. So import from course is only for students who have already had an account in another course. Last but not least, and this is the one I like to use, especially with first-time students, you can just say I need X amount of seat tokens. You will then get a token, and you can email that to the student. The student can then go to netacad.com and then click on login, and then they can say redeem seat token. And it's going to ask, I currently have a NetAcad login. So if they're already an existing student, they just have to put in their email associated with their account or their screen name and the seat token, and then submit it, and they'll be enrolled in your course. If it's a totally new student, they put in their first, last name, the email address they wish to use, and the seat token that you've given them. Now, the seat tokens are a great way to enroll students. I will tell you this, the seat tokens expire in 24 hours, so students have to use them pretty quickly. But that is a good way to add a large number of students quickly. You just have to make sure you send out the seat tokens to the students. In larger classes, I'd say importing via CSV or adding students by seat token is the easiest way to do it. And if you want to do existing students into a course, then import from another course or add students. We can actually just search for that student's name and add them into your course. Are there any questions about these four methods of adding students into a course?
I have a quick question about the importing CSV method. How does that work with existing students? So if we had students coming back that are doing the third CCNA course and they've already...
You don't use that method.
Okay, gotcha.
Import CSV is only for new students who do not have an account.
Got it.
Yep. So just don't use that method at all. It's only for the first time. If you want to do that, just do import from course, and then you can find the students. Now, occasionally what happens, you'll import from course, and let's say someone had intro a year ago, and you've got all the students who were in your intro course the first 8 weeks. You can move them over and then add that other student by their email or by their name. So, okay. You can actually just click insert and just search for them, okay? Other questions? All right. It's very important that you create the course, import your content that you want to use if you're going to copy a shell, add the students, and then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to actually go and Activate Exams. Now, this is something we do in all of our courses. This won't allow me to activate exams on these courses because none of them are started, so I have to go to my in-progress courses. So I'm going to go to the intro course, and I'm going to go to Assessment Center. Now, here's one reason, one of the things I did. Some of you noticed that I had to go in and re-enable or reactivate exams for you. If you create activations before a student is enrolled in the course, that activation doesn't apply to them. Activations only apply to students who are enrolled. So I don't activate like the pretest or anything like that. I don't activate that until I'm sure I've got everybody in the course as much as possible. Otherwise, you have to create multiple activations. To activate an exam, you click Create Activations, and then you can pick what you want. Now, you can do the chapter exams, packet tracer skill exams, or other assessments. And you'll notice that the pretest is active, the course feedback, and the final. You have an option of doing a couple things here. One is, when I click on it, you can create a default activation that can be based upon an activation profile you create. And I can actually show you, you can do an activation profile out here at the Assessment Center. So you can edit the activation profile. The longest that you can actually do a chapter exam is 90 days. Okay, you set your duration. And you can do a number of attempts. Max is, I think, 10. Well, actually, let you do more than that. And then you have to set where it's going to be in a secure proctored environment, or if it's unsecure, or you don't know at this time. And then you can select your English, your languages, English, whatever that it's in. This profile will be used if you do a default activation, but I've changed the settings of that profile. The default is 1 hour or 1 day for a 1 hour activation. So make sure you change that profile if you want it to be something different. You also have the option of clicking and doing an advanced activation where you can set up to 90 days. Okay. You can set the number of attempts. You can make it where you have to approve an additional attempt. For us in these courses, I make these courses, the chapter exams, just for you to learn knowledge. I don't make them as a true assessment item, so I let you take them up to 10 times. And then you can change the amount of time that you allow, and then where they're actually going to be administered. And I say, Scott, it's out of the shelf only for if you had another course, or will they be shared? I'm going to have, right now, the 2 shells I have completed, or I will have completed, are Introduction to Networks and Routing and Switching Essentials. I'm teaching scaling and connecting in the fall here, so I will have scaling and connecting shells completed hopefully by mid-October. That's my goal. Hopefully 1st of October, but we'll see. So if I activate this, it would activate it for the students. Now what's going to happen is it's going to say that it can't activate it for all these students, and the reason is you already have an activation available. Okay. And you'll see why I have multiple activations. I had to do this because some students came into the class later than others. And as I add them in, I had to do additional activations. So again, the exams are not available by default. The packet tracer skills assessments are not available by default. You have to activate those. And you have different windows. So you got 90 days here. But here's one of the things that I have to make you aware of. The final exam can only be activated for 7 days at a time. That's why some of you sent me an email and said, hey, the final exam's not on. Okay, I just go and activate it. Because every 7 days since your class has started, last 2 weeks of class, I've tried to have this on for you so you can do the written final. So be aware that that's a 7-day window, and you can make it as short as you want, but just be aware that if you make it too short, the students won't be able to start the exam. We have to set the time limit, so I set a longer time for you when you're inside of this. I do 5 hours. That's not something I would do for students normally, but I do it for you because you're in a little different environment. Okay? Any questions about activating exams? True, false. You need to have all your students enrolled before you activate your first exam.
False.
That is true. If you don't have your students enrolled before you activate exams, the activation will not apply to them.
But it still works.
It still works.
You just have to create another activation.
Right, right. So I would say true. It will work, but it makes a lot of work for you.
Right.
Okay. Now here's something else you need to do when class is completely over. Everything's done. All your students are finished. Okay. You need to go to the bulk deactivation and deactivate every single exam that is currently turned off. So select them all and deactivate them. This ensures that no student has what I call hung activation, or an activation that's partial, or an incomplete activation. You can do this, and so make sure at the end of each one of your classes, when everyone's finished, before the class concludes, before you conclude it, make sure you deactivate all the exams. Okay? So, for you, mostly what you'll be doing is in the I'm Teaching tab, going in to create a course. And again, I'm going to go back to this again. So right now, I have my Intro and RSE class. I'm going to create a course. Make sure I put it under the Stanley Community College ITC. I'm going to do the scaling networks. Continue. Select English 6. It's going to be ITC-scale-fall 17. And as required item, there, start date of 13th, end date, I'm doing January, I think I've been doing January 9th, or January 6th. I'm going to do 13th. Don't need a description, continue, and I'm going to go ahead and publish it. And so this is where I would then go and add students. And I'm not going to add any yet because I don't have a list of who's actually signed up for my course. By the way, if you do want to sign up for courses, be aware that are at stanley.edu. If you go into the Future Students ASCITC, Instructor Training Center, class schedule, here's our schedule for the fall. You'll notice I'm teaching all 4 courses in the fall. So I'm doing scaling and connecting and intro and writing switch essentials. So please contact Rita and sign up for those courses. So I hope you will join us for those courses. I'm going to create one more course and I'll show you one more thing. So again, you won't have this many. You may only have one. It's a blessing and a curse. Trust me, I've created them more than one time in the wrong place. And it is not good. Okay. Course name is required. Yes, it is. And I know this makes a riveting presentation. Okay. I'm going to publish. And then one of the things you will see here, you can edit the details, and this is where you go in to change the dates if you need to change the dates, or add another instructor. So if you're in the course itself, so let me go back to I'm Teaching. If you go to course details on a course, you can add the students there, or you can edit the details. All right. If for some reason you're in the I'm Teaching tab and you're in the list view, and you need to get into the details page, just change to the tile view, and you can go to the course details. Okay, and let you change the details there. So a little weird, but pretty neat. Okay, you also can jump straight to the assessment center for the course, which takes you to where you can turn on. Notice it says BDS was unable to receive the roster. Okay, basically it's saying here there are no students in here, so I can't let you activate exams. So if there are no students at all, it won't activate. But you can have some students in there and activate, and then you have to go back and do another activation. Yes, man, I did a video on how to do the copy the shell. I'll show you again real quickly. For instance, let's see, let me find my not started the intro course. Okay, I can go, once you're in the course, I can go to settings. I can go import course content. And then the content is going to be a Canvas course export package, which is an IMCC, which is what I sent out. And it's right here, IMSCC. So you have to get this shell from me. You put select specific content, and I adjust the dates. I remove all the dates. That way I don't have any old dates in there. Then you import it. Then at this point, so what?
You have already sent this one out to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you send it?
I sent it out. You know what? I may not have sent it to y'all, because I sent it to all my existing instructors. I may not have sent it to y'all. I'll send it to you too.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because we've got spam filters too.
And it could have got caught by that, but I thought I'd send it out. It's on my YouTube channel. I have created a new playlist on my channel, and that playlist is called, that's funny, KFC. That playlist is the ASCITC playlist. So ASCITC tutorials. So there is a tutorial here on how to do this too. Okay, but I don't mind showing it again. So we're in here, we've imported it. You have to go to select content, and for my shell, what you want to actually upload or copy are just the chapter modules. Okay, don't copy anything else, otherwise you end up with duplicates. So you want to do just those, and you want to do under the assignments, you want to do the packet tracer assignments and the lab assignments, and that's the only items you want to copy. And then give it a few minutes, and it will copy it. And what this is copying in, it's copying in the assignments and the uploads. So basically the links to the assignments and the uploads. Isfan, you're right. I'm sorry. I did not send it out to all of you. I sent it out to all of my Academy instructors who are on my Academy list right now. I need to add all of you to that list.
In this course that we just recently have taken, you're going to send out one for that as well?
Talking about routing, switching essentials?
Yes.
Yes, I'll send out, I'll put it on a Dropbox.
Okay.
Labs, correct. The labs are the hands-on portions that you do in NetLabs, or in your class, you may do them in your classroom. So, and now that I've imported this, here's something that is a caveat that you've got to be aware of. When you import these items in, there was an existing Chapter 1 content already there. I'm going to minimize Chapter 2, minimize Chapter 3. There's a process you have to go through to get the shell cleaned up, basically. And so what you need to do is, well, let me get this right. I think I clicked wrong. Minimize all of these. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to notice there's a new or another Chapter 1 that's been added because it imported my module that I had created. Okay? So see this with our packet tracers and our uploads? So you just grab this, grab this and move it up, right up under Chapter 1. All right. You notice how it says Launch Chapter 1, 2, and Practice 2? You need to delete these two items. So remove these because they are linked to items that shouldn't be there. Also remove the chapter quiz off of the one that was imported. So then just pull down Chapter 1. Pull it down into your existing, the one that you copied in, and pull down the terms in practice. And then pull down Chapter 1 quiz under exams, and pull down the chapter exam under exams. And that ensures that they're linked to the correct chapter quiz and exam. Then you can delete the extra module. And so now Chapter 1 is ready to go. And you didn't have to go in and make all of these links and assignments. So I just saved you a bunch of time. And minimize that, go down, grab Chapter 2. So when you import, it takes about probably 10 minutes to clean up the import. You know, you have to delete each one of these. So remove the Launch Chapter 2, delete the extra practice items, go down, delete the Chapter 2 quiz that was imported with mine, and then just drag these down. And you have to do this for every single module. but again, it takes maybe 10 minutes to do this. And it takes hours to create the links and the assignments. So this is the fast way to do it without having to create your own assignments. Now, be aware, if you ever want to create your own assignments, it's easy to do. You just go over to the assignments area, and you'll notice there are already percentages. So like, for instance, I got 10% of the total here. You also can edit the portion of that is the grade. So like that should be 0. You really shouldn't be given a grade for the pretest unless you're doing some kind of participation. Here's an extra assignments block that just needs to be removed because there's nothing in it. But you can go in and assign how much you want the packet tracers to be. So let's say we want to be 15% of the grade. Okay. And then we can say we want chapter exams to be, I don't know, what, 30% of the grades. It's really dependent upon whatever's on your syllabus. You also have the option, by the way, I didn't show you, but you do have the option under here to say drop the lowest 1 score, okay, or highest 1 score. So you can do it either way. All right, so that's your choice if you want to do that. You then can, again, I usually put my labs up here with my packet tracers because I give them the same amount. So to edit there, I do 15% here. And then chapter exams 30, skills exams. I don't make the practice skills exam part of the actual grade. I just make it student completion. So you can drag down here and make it part of that assignment. This is always 10% of the grade for me. And it's required. If you don't pass the hands-on skills, you won't pass the course. Okay. And so now I'm at 30, 60, 70, 85. So I usually, let's see what I usually make these 20%. That's what I do for my instructor classes anyway. So 40, 70, 80, 95. And it all depends on what you do. Oh, 20. What you want it to be. And that will 20, 40, 70, 80, 95. I'm going to do 15. Now I'm at 100. I will be in a minute. Okay. Now, this will determine, when you go to the grade book, the percentages in the grade book. But I want to show you something real quick. Let's say I want to add a new assignment. What I do is I click up here, I find an assignment area. And by the way, you can also create an entire new group if you want to. So if you have a different set of groups, let's say you do, I don't know, say you do group work or you do a presentation. You could actually do a new group called presentation. Make it a percentage of the grade, whatever you wanted it to be. I'm going to just say 0 right now. But you could make it whatever you want. And then that's going to be added to the bottom down here. And then you can actually add in an assignment. And you could call it class prez or whatever. Put a due date on it. And then you can do more options. And then under the more options is where you can say on this date. Wow, can't type. Present to the class. Blah, blah, blah. You know, hopefully something better than blah, blah, blah. But you can go down now, and it could be either an online submission where they actually put something in. It can be no submission to where you just give them points. Okay. It can be something that they submit on paper and give you, and then you actually do a review of it. And all those are available so that you can do your own assignments if you want, and then you can save. Now here's the thing, if you forget to publish it, be aware when you go to the assignments, you go to the bottom, you will see that it's not published yet. See how it's here? And so the students can't see it till you publish it. So the neat thing is you can create assignments and have them hidden until you actually publish them. And once you publish them, then the students can see them. Okay? Now, I'm going to delete this because I don't need this inside of my instructor class because they'll freak out and go, what? I got to do a post. I'm going to delete it and its assignments. But I want to go to the grade book and show you how the grade book's going to work now that I've given points to the assignments. As we go over here, you'll see the points I gave to those assignment groups are the points that will be used to figure the student's total grade. All right. So this Canvas is a full-fledged LMS. It's got, I mean, there's all kind of stuff I'm not even showing you, like being able to add in under settings. You can add external apps. I mean, there's ways to integrate with different apps and things that I haven't even used. You know, just all types of things that are available. But be aware that for most of what you're going to do, you're going to use the course, and I use the modules area and have them actually go through and use my shell. Are there any questions on this shell and setting the shell up or adding students or creating courses? No questions?
Hey, Kelly.
Yes.
Can you go back to the course again?
Go over what?
Just briefly.
How to create a course?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I can definitely do that. Let me drag these down real quick while I'm right here. Well, I know where I stopped because I'll have to go back and do all these once I'm done. Okay. So if you're in My NetAcad and you're on the I'm Teaching tab, okay, you go to create a course. Pick the academy you're at, which for most of you will be just one academy. And then you pick the course you want. And then continue. Select the language and version, so we should be using 6. Then you just put in the course ID, which is the same as the course name for me. You may have a course ID number that you use at your school, but I use the same. And then a course name. Then put in your start date, your end date, and then continue. And that's all you have to do. Now, once the class is created, okay, I'm going to leave this. Once the class is created, you can click on Course Details, and this is where you can add your students.
Okay.
And I've been taping this, I've been recording this, so I will upload this video so you'll have it to look at. But I went over each one of these 4 on how to do it. Pretty much for a new course, you will use either the import CSV, or for new students, or the seat tokens, one of those 2 methods. And then for students who already have an existing account, you'll use import from course, or add the students and just look up their names.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, no problem. I'm going to stop the recording.